University to step forward and take a seat at the high table. Can we give her a round of applause, please? The rapporteur is Mr. S.A. Adeyemi from the Faculty of Agriculture, Igbada campus. So, in order to beat time, like I did in the morning session, we would love that our presenters conclude their presentation in 20 minutes, no more than 20 minutes, inshallah. And I have the honor to invite to address this congregation today, like he did yesterday, but representing the Honorable Commissioner, Mr. Bukoyi Lamidi from the Ministry of Business, Innovation, and Technology, Kwara State. Can we welcome with a round of applause, please?
MC, please, before the presenter starts, could those who were here with me come and take they left these foods for them. Okay. Then when they went to pray, so that they can come and take they were here with me, about 3 of them, 1, 2, 3.
Could come to the rural areas of the state. I want us to know that when we talk about the major producer, the food basket of Nigeria, as was reiterated yesterday, it is not in the big cities, nor is it the mechanized farming that are producing food for us, but right from the rural areas, the remote areas that are producing all this food and other things that they are using in the cities. But where are these people? Who are they? Those are the challenges before the rural areas. The major occupation of the people of the rural areas, that is the rural dwellers, is agriculture. The different facets of agriculture we find in the rural areas, in the rural settings, but at subsistence level, at very, very low and subsistence level, where they are used to use of crude tools and some other manual something to practice their farming system. And they have little or small acres of land each, to which they practice their agriculture. So the major cooperative that we can find in the rural areas is mostly cooperative group farming. Mostly cooperative group farming. When you talk about cooperative group farming, it can be in different facets. We can have thrift and credit, agricultural thrift and credit farming. We can have agricultural input cooperative society. Thank you. Agricultural input cooperative society. I said we can have agricultural thrift and credit society. Then we can have agricultural cooperative group farming. When we talk about agricultural group farming, it can be on individual farmland, but you come together as a group, or we have a group, we have them as a group on a large hectares of land where they practice their farming system. Now, if we have that, and people are into agriculture, and people are into cooperative, how can cooperative help to assist in ensuring that adoption of digital technology is utilized by farmers? How will it assist us so that whatever they produce in the villages will get to the rural, will get to the urban centers? We have the various problems developing those in the rural areas, like lack of good roads, poor road networks, and some other things like transportation system. Whatever they produce, poor storage facility will also account for greater percentage of the loss they are going to sustain. Now, we know their problem. But how would they be assisted by cooperative to adopt digital solutions to their farming activities? We believe with the advent of cooperatives, those that are in cooperative, they are already a cluster group. And when you have a cluster group, it is always easy to deal with the cluster group when you are performing or when you are carrying out information to them. When you want to reach people, you want them to adopt new system, it is always good to meet them as a group. Not just only a group, but already a socialized group, a formalized group. The one that is already registered and the one they have believed in themselves and have been living together for long and have been contributing, they have been doing so many things, so that by the time you pass information to them, the rate of adoption is likely to be very high. Also, when you talk about cooperative, it contains enlightened people, people that have defined, they have known their economic status and are ready to move and forge ahead to improve their economic status. By the time you are passing to them, this is a solution to this. If you use this one, it's going to give you this one. It will be easier for them because they have targets. And I want you to know that when you talk about people in a cooperative, it is very rare for you to see anybody who is not responsible joining cooperatives. Before you join cooperatives, you must have assessed yourself. What is your the present economic, socio-economic status? How do I better it? What forced you to go and join cooperative? It means you have motive, you have targets. By the time they are bringing in innovation technology to you, that by the time you are using this and that, it is easier for you to equally adopt it. So forming a group is already an advantage to utilize when you want to pass on information and the digital solution to their problems. And when we talk about this digital solution, it's just the intensive use of technology, information technologies. When you are using internet, when you are using internet to store your things, we talk about robots, we talk about artificial intelligence, big data and blockchain and so on and so forth. We want them to adopt it. Now, apart from the one I've said, when you have a group like a cooperative, it is also easier for you to pass information to them because by the time you are saying you want to get into research with them, they are already a group. And when we want to go do any research, they are from different backgrounds and they have different opinions. By the time you are talking to them, being a formal group, you will easily get them to address whatever you have that you want to address with them, than just going to individual or just calling people on the street. So I believe whenever you want to carry out any research, those that are already clustered will be easier for you to administer your research questions than those ones that are not in a group. Also, when you talk about cooperative, when you talk about cooperative, it's a formalized sector. And when you talk about advisory role in cooperative already. In cooperatives, we talk about the supreme authority in a cooperative to be the general meetings of members. Whatever you have that you want to pass on to them, by the time you get to the OGM or AGM of members, and they want to pass information to themselves, they want to decide on this one, you get the best options from whatever everybody is complaining, because everybody will be allowed to give his or her opinion. So on the side of advisory role, cooperative is very good at that too. Then being cooperative, it is easier for the cooperative to get grants, loans, and international support and program, as well as subsidies, because they are already a cluster, and people would like to deal with cluster group than just to go to anywhere and treat whatever they want to treat. So I want to believe that with this one, cooperative has an edge towards promoting adoption of DIGISOL, digital solution to farmers' problem. Also, when you are benchmarking and changes in government, in cooperatives, we have a system that after spending some years, you leave, and other people will also take over. With this one, people know that whatever you are doing before, you can easily do it at any other way, so that it's already a custom with the cooperative to know that when you are in cooperative, there's need for you to move and forge ahead. Then the advent of modern tools and technology, like as provided by the digital solution, like artificial intelligence implementation. In the past, people believe that farming can only be for the poor people. And by the time you go into the villages now, and you try to advance, and you make sure you use cooperative. Those in cooperative, I told you, they may be in the rural areas, but they may be have been attending cooperative meetings and so on in the town as well. So they are already knowledgeable. And that's why you also assist them to quickly adopt the new technology you are bringing onto them. Then, when you talk about the cooperative itself, you know, it enters into the various nuclear part of our remote villages. Anywhere you go, you meet cooperatives there. Anywhere, no matter how small that village may be. By the time you are using cooperative, it means it will allow you to touch the nooks and crannies of the nation. So cooperative is everywhere, and it's springing well. And it's also, nearly every time, cooperative used to organize a seminar to upgrade knowledge of their members. So when you are talking about cooperative, we are talking of knowledgeable people who can easily adopt information technology, that digital solution to their problem. So I want us to know that when you talk about cooperative as a way of enshrining digital solution to farmers' problem, we are talking of a way of boosting the, not only the food production capacity of the farmers, we are talking of a way of improving their socio-economic status as well. Because by the time cooperative leaves, and cooperative is saying that this is what we want to do, people believe in themselves than just for anybody to just come. By the time you are using cooperative as your mode of communicating to the rural dealers, they believe in themselves and they are likely to adopt the system faster than when you just go and be meeting individuals or calling individuals together. So cooperative is a better tool to facilitate adoption, faster adoption of technology to the rural dwellers, as I've been saying. So I want to believe that when you talk about decision making in terms of cooperative is faster. They believe in themselves. We want to adopt. By the time the president or any of the executives says this thing is good, they believe in themselves and they adopt very fast. So I believe that if you can use cooperative to make changes through digital solution to our rural areas, I believe farming will be very easy for the rural dwellers, and throughout Nigeria, there is going to be food surplus. And whatever they produce there, because when they adopt this IT, information technology, once it is adopted, I think whatever they produce will not be a waste again, because by the time you are introducing all these things to them, they already upgraded and things will go normally. I want to advise that when you talk about cooperative, it is a way of bringing people out of penury, and that will assist in the development of the nation faster than any other group. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bukoye Lamidi, representing the Kwara State Farmers Cooperative Society. Please, would you mind joining the chairman on the high table, as it is our tradition? Thank you. The chairman and other distinguished participants, now is the time to move to the next presentation, which is titled Enhancing the Role of Civil Society, Farmers and Cooperatives in Sustainable Farming Through Digitalization. This topic is to be presented by Dr. Usman Akabi of the Department of Economics, University of Ilorin. You are welcome, sir. Thank you. So Dr. Akabi shall be presenting for the next 20 minutes, 2:40 to 2:06, that's 3. Yeah.
MC, please, could you please, if the other presenters are here, let them come over so that let's see, so we can.
Okay.
If they are all around, let them come over here.
So
they can take their questions after the presentations. Thank you.
Is Mr. Ademola Festus here with us, or is he presenting virtually? Okay. Mr. Abdusemi Ajala, CEO, Code Village, and technical screener at Andela. Okay. Over to you,
sir. The chairman of today's seminar and other members on the high table, distinguished participants at today's seminar. You said? No. Oh, no, I just came in from Abuja, so I couldn't get an assistant. So, let me give you something to project. Send to you. No, message, that's all. That's what I want to. Okay, I've sent it. I've been introduced earlier, but not of the Department of Economics, but of Agricultural Economics and Farm Management University of Ilorin. What I'm going to be talking on, I just have a side slide, which can also be useful to the topic that was given to me. So it's enhancing the role of civil society, farmers, cooperatives in sustainable farming through digitalization. I would want to repeat some aspects which have already been dealt with when we're talking about issues of cooperatives. Cooperatives are very important. I think for 10 years under Fadama project, I was involved with cooperatives. When I resumed in Kwara State for Fadama project in 2004, there was hardly anybody in the civil service nor on the field that was even conversant with laptops, desktop. The first project that brought it on was that project. And since then, a lot of people who came up on the use of these IT facilities, I can tell you some of them are professors, they are working in AMTI, they are working in NCAM, they are working in Basin. And they have been able to step it down, even to the cooperatives at the local level. So in modern age, sustainable farming has emerged as a central strategy to counteract the environmental challenges, conventional agriculture, and ensure food security. Up till now, if you look at production in Nigeria, probably let's take about cereals like rice, we still have less than 2 tons per hectare. Even in the West African sub-region, you have nations in Ivory Coast that have about 5 to 7 tons per hectare. The yield per hectare of yam in Nigeria is still far below the average standard worldwide. Cassava the same. Why is it that in spite of seminars, a lot of things that have gone into agriculture, a lot of investments, we are not able to move from where we are today? But take countries, let's take for instance, we talk about Dubai, we talk about Israel, we talk about other countries that have invested enormously in technology and even moved to digitalization. They have been able to bridge a lot of rules for themselves. So here's how you can use digitalization. For instance, you can empower farmers through information. Information is power, is key. Digitalization allows farmers access vast amount of information. For instance, like when you look at around, there are a lot of knowledge that you can get just being able to access the internet system, the artificial intelligence. Anything you need, if you have access to artificial intelligence and you have your own natural intelligence, you can combine the two together. You can get a lot of information which ordinarily you not have access. You have to travel probably to the ministries, or you have to go to somebody who is designated for such roles. But you can still sit in the comfort of your room and get certain information. So from best practices to weather forecast, you can get information. This morning, I was in Lagos. I flew to Lagos yesterday. I was in Lagos. I wanted to know what is the prayer time. All I just needed was to take my handset, and I googled it. I was able to get the prayer time for Lagos area. If it was not existing, I would never have been able to know where exactly I'm going. I can take the compass and know where to face. Same thing in every other things, activities we do. So for best practice to weather forecast, with smartphone, mobile applications, farmers can receive real-time activities. For instance, there are farmers who might need maize. And there are some who have maize, but they don't know where to sell. It happened, maize, Saminaka area of northern Nigeria is a maize belt. But where they have much of the poultry is in Ogun State. There was at a time that a supervisory team of the World Bank was going around. They went to assess the farmers who were producing maize. They said, we have no market. But for those who were in Lagos, they were saying that cost of maize has gone up. But there was a disconnect. But if there was an information highway, easily you can assess the person who wants to buy maize and the person who wants to sell maize. So farmers can receive real-time advice on pest control. There are some pest chemicals that we are using that we don't know we are killing ourselves in this world today. There are some vehicles you see on the road that will not be acceptable in what we say, some of us say Sena climbs. I saw some vehicles flying Lagos Road. I wonder that the kind of exhaust, and yet we are here complaining about cancer every day, every time. It's getting rampant. And we may never know it until it hits your family. But may it not hit any of our family. So other sustainable farming techniques. This not only improves the crop yield, but ensures that farming is done in an environmentally friendly way. So also, digitalization is data driven. Some of us might have heard about precision agriculture, whereas you can determine the quantity of water that that will get to the root of the plant that will be needed for exactly what it needs for. But if we don't have that kind of technology that can assess it, we're going to have problems on the long run. So it provides data from sales. You'll be able to know where they need a particular product. How is it moving? Sometimes we discover that there are more people producing catfish everywhere. So when 20 people are going to catfish, working on the field, you can see mapping of the field. It can tell you exactly where you can be sure certain things are going to happen. I think those who are going to talk about this will still come up, but I know somebody who knows much about it. Next one. So you can see weather forecasting, how you can use digitalization. Next one. So it's a vast development that we are having in Nigeria. We need to have user-friendly one. Local languages. Next one. This is major challenge that we have. If you are in the rural areas, you don't have access. If you see the level of electricity even that we have here in Nigeria, probably a local government in South Africa has the level of megabytes, or how do we measure electricity? Megawatts that we have here. If the number of tractors that we have in the whole of Nigeria, a whole state has more than that in India. Because even our steel industry never developed. So when we don't have this, there are going to be challenges. How can we improve on it? We set a satellite out. It was lost in space. Billions were spent. When do we get to that stage? Next. So dissemination point, we should have kiosks where we probably in the Ministry of ADP, where people can have access to key informations. And people can also key into it. They can have apps. People provide the apps that can get some of those information. Yes? So this is all that I will just talk about for now. But the most important thing is training. That's why there's usually usage market training. United States Agency, Department for International Agency for Agency and Development or something like that, USAID. They usually train the farmers from time to time to appreciate some of those things that can help to better their lot in farming, starting from their input section down to the out products market section. I hope one day we are going to get there. But for now, there's a lot. But digitalization definitely holds immense potential to enhance the role of civil society, farmers, cooperatives in sustainable farming. It democratizes access to information. It's at your key, at your beck and call, facilitates data-driven decisions, and strengthens advocacy. In enhancing the power of technology, we can pave way for a greener and more sustainable future for agriculture. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Usman Akabi. He spent 2 minutes less than his time. So, that is one of the hallmarks of academics. So thank you very much for engaging this audience. We are grateful for your coming. Now, without further ado, we move to the next presentation. Harnessing the power of artificial intelligence, AI, and Internet of Things, IoT, in precision agriculture, a dive into real-time monitoring and data-driven decision-making, to be presented by Mr. Abdulsamir Ajala, CEO of Code Village and Technical Screener at Andela. Can we give him a round of applause, please? Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I want to stand on existing protocol. The topic, a dive into real-time monitoring and data-driven decision-making. Before we start, I would like us to quickly watch a video. The sound.
This farmer's morning starts in outer space, where satellites feed infrared images of his land into a system built with AI. He uses Watson to analyze his data with millions of weather forecasts from the cloud and IoT sensors down here for precise monitoring of irrigation. It's a smart way to help increase yields, all before the rest of us get out of bed. Just another day on the farm. Or is it? This farmer's morning starts in outer space, where satellites feed infrared images of his land into a system built with AI. He uses Watson to analyze his data with millions of weather forecasts from the cloud and IoT sensors down here for precise monitoring of irrigation. It's a smart way to help increase yields, all before the rest of us get out of bed.
Thank you very much. So if we look at that video very closely, we will observe that the man is a very grown-up man, and he seemed to be the only personnel in that very huge farm, all with the power of AI and IoT. But I don't want to start by bothering us with too much abbreviation. I know many of us will be familiar with it, but it will be good that I mention it. The AI stands for Artificial Intelligence, and IoT stands for Internet of Things. When we say Internet of Things, we are talking about attaching sensors, connectors, actuators different tiny bits of devices into everyday objects that we use, and that gives us the opportunity to communicate with them. For instance, if I misplace my phone, I can track that phone and know the location of that particular phone. The same way, I can put an Apple AirTag into my bag or my car key, and easily I can ping where my car key is, and I don't have to ask everybody, where do you help me to get my key? The same thing applies to agriculture today. You can connect different devices, tiny devices, to every angle of our farm, from the soil that you use to the water source and almost every component of your farm. All they do is to help you to collect data in real time. And unlike before, when we have IoT in the farm, we're taking it to the next level with the power of AI. So you don't have to understand how to digest those data. You don't have to be an expert in agriculture. All you have to do is to leverage on AI. But with more experience, of course, you do better than someone that is not in the field of agriculture. Okay, next slide, please. Where we have introduction to precision agriculture. Next. Okay, good. All right. Is there a way we can make it full screen? It's very tiny. Yeah. So there is like a play icon at the top right corner. It should make it much better. I think this Zoom icon is covering it. Yeah, top right. You see play or slide or something, yeah? Something. Yeah, slideshow, I think. That should take it to full screen. Aha. Slideshow, yes. Yeah, just click on slideshow directly. That slideshow, yeah. Top right, yeah. That, yeah, exactly. No, not that. Top right, slideshow. Slideshow, yeah, click on it. Good, thank you. All right. We can click on minimize for that black tag, yeah. It's draggable. Oh, great. Thank you. All right, so when we talk about precision agriculture, it's a farming management concept that uses technology to optimize crop yield and quality while reducing waste and costs. It involves the use of various technologies such as AI and IoT to collect, analyze, and act upon data in real time. And as a result of this, everything is automated, everything is optimized. In precision agriculture, on a normal day in your farm, you just wet the soil, and you're like, okay, that's good, that should be okay, that should be enough. But you're not really sure whether the water is enough or not. And we know that the requirements of crops differ, or let me say vary from one crop to the other, and the requirements of different livestock vary from one animal to the other. But with precision agriculture, it acts based on the data that is being collected to optimize our agricultural activity. So just like the video we saw at the beginning of this presentation, you discover that the man with peace of mind is just moving through that vast amount of land, and is just the sole person controlling that entire farm, because he's got a lot of employees who are not human, but robots that help him to get things done with little effort or little input. So core concept we want to look at are data collection. Data collection, it involves technologies like GPS, drones, sensors to gather information about the soil, the weather condition as well, and the crop conditions. So it look at the color of the product. It look at the color of the leaves. It look at a lot of things. The density of those crops, presence of weed, And all these things are what are collected. The next stage is the data analysis. In data analysis, AI analyze the collected data to make informed decision and recommendation. It also gives you recommendations such as when and where to plant, when should you irrigate, and apply inputs like fertilizers and pesticide. In fact, when we proceed, we'll get to some methods of precision agriculture, or let me say application of precision agriculture, where you don't have to use pesticide at all because your plant will not be susceptible to pests. Now, we also have the third part, which is now precision agriculture. Finally, farmers can make precise, take precise actions based on the analysis made by AI and recommendation made by AI, ensuring resources are efficiently used, and that leads to increased crop yield and reduce environmental impact. Next slide, please. Oh, not here. Common concept of AI. Okay, good. So, let's keep this. I think I already covered it.
The answer? Climate-smart agriculture. Climate-smart agriculture aims to help find new ways to adapt and thrive under climate change. It's based on 3 interlinked goals: increasing agricultural productivity and incomes sustainably and equitably, helping food systems and farming livelihoods be more resilient, and minimizing agriculture's greenhouse gas emissions. Farms of every type and every size can become climate smarter. For example, by identifying and promoting sustainable farming practices and tools, using inputs more efficiently and effectively to grow more from less, and building markets where farmers can access what they need and sell any surplus of what they produce. Climate change is a challenge to our food system, but it's also an opportunity for us to innovate and adapt. Easy to say, but harder to do. We must work together to become climate smarter and to support the necessary technical, policy and investment solutions that our farmers need.
Climate change is actually affecting farmers in my region. Sometimes we actually have rains when we are not expecting. We have droughts when we are not expecting.
The pests, the new weeds, invasive species.
We have observed the winters that they are much more longer than usual.
Everyone say climate change affect their daily life, affect their crop, affect their production, affect their activities in agriculture especially.
When you begin to suffer, you are seeing things going from bad to worse. You are bound to adapt.
Producir de acuerdo a los cambios climáticos es sumamente importante y es muy importante tener muchos registros de qué es lo que ha pasado en mi campo durante los últimos 100 años.
Farmers are finding ways of responding to climate change. Intercropping and multiple cropping, companion planting, crop rotation.
Swedish farmers, they try to use the best practices for everything, for animal husbandry, for manure system, for other things that you can do when it comes to climate change.
This is what climate-smart agriculture aims to achieve.
Okay, thank you. So we are actually examining 3 advanced application of AI and IoT in precision agriculture. The first one is the climate-smart agriculture, and that's what the video we just watched is all about. Majorly, it's AI and IoT in precision agriculture enable climate-smart practices through drought prediction, soil health monitoring, drought prediction, precision pest management, smart crop selection, flood risk mitigation, carbon sequestration, energy efficiency, and supply chain resilience. So basically, we have information ahead of time, and we are advised on how to prepare for this upcoming occurrence. Just like my father and the immediate speaker said earlier, that a lot of places in Africa, people just, here in Nigeria and other places in Africa, we just expect things to happen normally. Oh, there was rain last January. There was, we just base our assumption based on what happened last year, and we expect the same thing to happen. And we can't actually count how much loss these have actually translated into. Some people will plant a lot of crops, very huge expanse of land, hoping there will be rain, and instead of them to get that rain, they end up losing all their inputs, or they yield very, very low very low output. Climate smart agriculture will help us to mitigate this. We also have high-tech indoor farming. In high-tech indoor farming, we have automated monitoring in place for environmental conditions, soil moisture, and also resources usage are optimized. So in terms of this indoor farming, we can have a very large expanse of land, but it will be enclosed. So they kind of control every condition the plants are going through. And what happens from that is they get to rotate a lot of resources. So for example, the same water they use to wet the plant is the same thing that is the same water they use for the fish they use for rearing fish, and many other use like that. And because they have access to data, it's not just, I don't know why this is happening. You have access to almost everything that is going on. You have access to information, right? You'll be able to make informed decisions in high-tech indoor farming. Another one that is really, really advanced and capital intensive is the smart vertical farming. A stem of this, we can stem this into people call aquaponics, hydroponics, and many of them. But the major concept of this type of farming is you are not using sunlight at all. That's number one. Number two is you are growing your crops indoor. So in advanced countries, because of time, I will have played some of these videos, but I don't want to bore us with too much videos, and because of my time constraints. But let me just explain. You can see a whole tower, like 10 floors, 50 floors, and all they are using it for is agriculture. They are rearing crops year-round in those facilities. And what they do is to provide it with the adequate light that it needs, the adequate moisture that it needs, and everything is so precise. They don't give those crops more than what they need. And in those kind of facilities, I don't even know how pests want to get into those facilities. So they don't care about pests. They don't care about using pesticide. They don't care about using some of these harmful materials, which some experts are saying could even lead to cancer, because when you use too much of these chemicals, you don't know to what extent it affects the end user, who is the person that is consuming the food at the end of the day. So people get to yield, they get a very, very more optimized yield for, okay, all right. So they get a more improved yield, and this is a case study of a farm. This is a case study of a farm where they, no, this is for indoor farming. The next one is the smart vertical farming, the third one. Yeah. And to wrap everything up, for the advanced application of, for the application of AI and IoT in precision agriculture, is that video where they talk about how technology is used, that is AI and IoT in China, to optimize agriculture. I would really love if we can have that. So this is the indoor farming. You can see each crate is like different layer of products. So in a single section, just like, let's say, the way ShopRite looks like, that's like one floor. you can imagine how many sections are in ShopRite. Imagine those sections are meant for different crops, and they have different levels. So imagine the yield that you can make from that every single day. So people eat fresh food every day. In fact, they only harvest what they want to, what people are meant to consume that very day, based on informed decision. People have already pre-ordered the products, and they don't just harvest and start looking for buyer. Everything is based on data. Okay, please, I would like us to go through that one of China, the last one. No, the one down at the bottom. Yeah, that one. At the bottom. Yeah, thank you very much. Okay. Adverts. Okay, money point. I would like us to use sound. Okay.
Northeast China has always been an agricultural region, and the use of technology in the industry has revolutionized farming here. An unmanned this region showcases the application of technology in farming. The farm is equipped with sensors, cameras, and robots to monitor and manage the farm's activities.
Very, very huge farm, almost the size of some cities, right? And there is no single human being in this farm. All are just robots.
These devices collect data on soil moisture, temperature, and nutrient levels, among other things, to make sure that crops receive optimal conditions for growth. The robots are used for activities such as planting, watering, and fertilizing. The unmanned farm also has a cloud-based management system that can be accessed remotely to manage operations, and it enables farmers to make informed decisions based on real-time data.
Where they say AI is taking over, everybody and all these things. So, presenting its multiple options.
In China, smart factories are being used to increase agricultural production efficiency. The use of technology in agriculture has increased productivity and efficiency by automating tasks that were previously performed manually. The smart factory is equipped with advanced technologies such as artificial intelligence, big data analytics, and the Internet of Things.
I want to go for this. It's so easy to use that you can even be off, like you're not at the farm facility, and you can use your
These technologies are used to monitor and control every aspect of the production process, including planting, irrigation, fertilization, and harvesting. The use of robots in the smart factory reduces the need for human labor, making the process faster, more efficient, and less costly.
But imagine, robots helping you to handle that without the stress of using some of your inputs.
China's Smart Agriculture Competition provides an excellent opportunity for tech companies to showcase their innovations in the field. The competition is open to all participants who develop smart agriculture solutions, and the winners are selected based on the effectiveness, sustainability, and innovation of their solutions.
Data is not collecting data from the former yield and the current one that is growing, and as a result,
the competition has been instrumental in promoting the use of technology in agriculture, as well as encouraging the development of sustainable and environmentally friendly solutions.
What are the challenges of adopting this method? Number one is there is large volumes of data that need to be collected,
intelligent greenhouses
and stored and processed efficiently. And the solution to this is we need to have a robust data management system and cloud computing to handle and analyze data effectively. We have different sensors and devices that may be incompatible. What we want, there are two ways to handle this. One thing is to standardize the communication protocol to ensure seamless integration between the IoT devices. That is if you are going huge on it and you are the one handling the devices. But if you are not like going huge on it, just try and make sure all your devices are purchased from the same vendor so that they all know how to communicate with one another. You don't buy something from HP, another one from Dell, and you want them to communicate well, and you are not a programmer and you're not the expert. It may be very, very difficult and challenging, even for an expert, unless there is a standardized communication protocol. And then we have protecting sensitive agricultural data from cyber threat is crucial. anything that can be automated can also be hacked. So efficient security in terms of encryption and cybersecurity practices should be employed. High initial costs for IoT sensors and AI technology can be a barrier. Of course, all these things that you are seeing, they look so beautiful. But when you go into implementation, it's capital intensive. And a way we can break this barrier is by, the government. So the government can subsidize and partner with farmers to make this technology more accessible. And finally, we have remote farming areas may lack reliable power and internet connectivity. So I remember he mentioned something like that in his presentation. And the solution to this is, and this is actually very, very true, a lot of IoT devices don't consume much, they don't consume much data. They don't consume much electricity. All they do is just to sense maybe the temperature of the soil, humidity, all those things, and they send it to, what is it called? Very tiny bits of data to the server or the AI system. Also, satellite internet providers like Starlink can actually be utilized in the farm. Also, in areas where our normal, regular terrestrial network is not very, very good. So finally, recommendations. Research, innovation, and partnerships. We need to encourage partnership between tech companies, agricultural researchers, and universities to drive innovation tailored to Nigerian farming needs. Training and education. We need to provide training and education to farmers on how to use AI and IoT technologies to, effectively. Workshop and extension services like this can help bridge the knowledge gap. Government support and policy. We should advocate for government support and policies that encourage the adoption of AI and IoT in agriculture in form of incentive, subsidies, and educational programs. User-friendly technology design. We should also ensure that AI and IoT solutions are designed with end user in mind, considering the literacy level and the technology familiarity of Nigerian farmers. So this system should be easy to use, easy to assemble, and you don't need to be a tech guru to actually put these things together. Access to capital and financing. Encourage financial institutions to develop loan and insurance products that consider the unique aspect of AI and IoT investment in agriculture. In addition, promote microfinancing models that allow farmers to invest in technology incrementally. Next one. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mr. Bisemi Ajala, for that very beautiful presentation. It's now up to, looking at the recommendations, it's now up to government and other non-governmental organizations who are willing to partner with and assist farmers to, achieve these objectives. I believe that with the invention of introduction of AI, we'll have optimal production, less stress, and of course, farmers will be able to gain more from their inputs. Now, we want to have the question and answer session. This is 3:35. I believe we are now back to the normal time on the program. So let's have the question and answer session, after which we'll go straight to the implementation of recommendations. So once again, the floor is open for our participants who may wish to ask questions about what has been presented thus far. Thank you. Okay, so we have, I think I saw your hand. 1, 2. 3. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Abdul Ajala. Fine. Celine, okay. Thank you for that wonderful presentation. This is actually a very technical presentation, very technical. And he has captured various areas that need to be captured. The area that I'm actually looking at from the presentation has to do with the IoTs. Of course, we know what IoT is, the Internet of Things. At the root of IoT, to my knowledge, is electricity. Electricity is at the root of IoT. Without electricity, IoT cannot function. And here we are advocating for introduction or deployment of IoT in agriculture. With the kind of epileptic service we have in this country and almost non-availability of power in rural areas, how can we deploy IoT effectively to help farmers? That's exactly my question.
Yes, we'll address all the questions.
Okay. The first presentation by Dr. Usman Akabi, I would like to ask what policies and programs can the state and local governments implement to support digitalization in agriculture? On AI, I want to find out, are there any AI-based tools, apps, that could help rural poultry farmers to recognize the sign of disease in their flock and take appropriate action? Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm Abdul Basit Shamwala from Faculty of Agriculture, Al-Hikmah University. My question goes to the last presenter, Mr. Semi Ajala, Abdul-Semi Ajala, who has done very well. But I'm very sure all of us here in this hall, as one way or the other, would depend on energy to do all what we have been doing since morning. And we also require energy to move from this place after the close of the event. But one thing is that our food production is not in tandem with the increasing population. There are more mouths to be fed, and there is the need for stakeholders to increase yield and also the output, so that we can cater for the increase in population. So, Mr. Ajala, I want to ask, as a teacher, how do I tell my students that, okay, how can we integrate these AI tools and the IoT things into our project, so that students can be encouraged to do that, and at the end of the day, the findings can be deployed to farmers so that they can increase their yield and output, despite the cost of these things, because I know they don't come cheaply. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Based on the question asked, I think Mr. Ajala can respond to that. I think there is one question for you too, Dr. Kombi. Do you want him to respond first, or he should respond first? All right. So he's going to answer all the questions that he go. All right. So, Mr. Ajala, please respond.
Thank you very much. The first question is about electricity in the rural areas. Well, we are in Nigeria, and we know how epileptic our power supply is. And also, in all honesty, I've been to some rural areas where they are lucky to have a very good electricity supply. So this might not apply to everywhere. That's number one. Number two, in an environment where the electric supply is very, very poor, then it's as good as understanding that that electricity source is not reliable, is not dependable. As a result, we need to look elsewhere in terms of alternative source of electricity. When we talk about alternative source of electricity, what comes to the mind of most people is the solar energy. However, solar energy, as we all know, is expensive as well. And if you want it to be adopted in large, if you want it to be largely adopted in the rural areas, then talking about solar energy might not be viable. So there are other cheaper alternatives in the rural area. Wind is one of them. If you happen to know, if the rural area happen to be an area where they have abundant wind, then they can leverage on windmills. Also, by sensitization and education, you can actually make the children or the youths in those rural areas the driving force for energy generation. And I will tell you how. In those areas where there is no electricity, many other alternatives can be used. One is the windmill. People, youths and young people can actually come together and build systems that will generate electricity through wind, through our waste products like the feces, the animal dungs, right? There are a lot of other alternative systems. They are not easy to come by, right? But, you know, if the rural areas dedicate themselves to coming up with alternative source of electricity, I believe it's something they can really achieve. So by looking into alternative ways of generating electricity, we can be able to, combat this problem. In fact, another one is, what was it called? I saw a video on YouTube some weeks ago where in a particular place in India, they were able to generate electricity through water. And what they did was, the water was in a particular tank, and they light up they put some firewood at the bottom of that particular tank, and they light it up. So the steam that was coming out from that particular, the steam that was coming from that particular tank, okay? All right, I can continue here. The steam that was coming out from that particular tank was being channeled into propelling a particular device that was, rotating continuously. And as a result of that, that led to electricity. In fact, the major principle that leads to electricity generation is conversion of energy. When we understand this concept and we communicate this to the rural area, you will be surprised, you will be overwhelmed, you will be overwhelmed at the level at which this the people in this rural area will actually invent different mechanisms to generate electricity. In terms of AI solutions, there are a lot of AI solutions that are out there right now. Some are proprietary, some are available to the public to buy. One of them is a system called Onset Comp, and many others. But the thing about AI and what was it called? IoT system is you need to ask yourself one question first. Do you want to buy a specific system, like an entire system, and then implement it in your, like deploy it in your farm? Or maybe you are someone that is into tech and you want to, buy some, develop some, and, it's something that require an expert to actually it's something you need to discuss, and it's something you need to discuss with an expert before, we deploy it. It's still at a very, very early stage. Sometime yesterday night, let me start this way. 2 days ago, a company called OpenAI, the builders of ChatGPT, released some amazing updates on ChatGPT, or GPT, their AI model called GPT-4. And I was leveraging on that new release to analyze what was in a particular camera feed. So just like you hold a phone and you show the AI and it says you're holding a phone, is most likely an iPhone 13. I don't know if that makes sense. And this was a kind of step towards, saying, okay, look at this flower, what does it look like? Look at this crop, what does it look like? Do you identify any faults? And these are ways you train what's it called, AI. So it's still something that is still in development when it comes to adopting it. But there are a lot of, countries and companies that have actually made a lot of progress in this. And it's something that you don't just say, go and use this, go and use that. It requires some consulting, right? You consult an expert, then they prefer the right solution for you without using your farm for experiment. Yeah. Now, the last question, how can we introduce AI how can we introduce IoTs to students and then to farmers? Well, so I think what we call gradual adoption can actually be implemented. There are a couple of devices that have been built, and they are very, don't let me say they are cheap, they are relatively cheap. And before now, when dollar have turned to something else, there is this kit called Arduino kits, and there's another kit called Sensors kits that I purchased about, I think 5 years ago. I still have some of them at home. So basically, these sensors, you buy them in bulk, and you can then use them for anything. So let me give you an example. There is one particular sensor called radio sensor, right? Proximity sensor. It detects whether something is coming closer to it. There's another sensor which is called which is like a thermostat, and basically it's a very tiny device like this. And the way it works is it connects to the next internet device. You connect it to a particular laptop, to your laptop, and then configure that whenever it's on, it should connect to so and so, and that's it. So when you put that particular device in your soil, it measures the amount of what's it called? It measures the temperature of whatever you attach it to, and then send that data to your system. So imagine having a group of things like this, connect them together. But I tell you for a fact, if you don't really know how to code, if you're not a programmer, it might be hard to leverage on these things. It's because I can code. That's why I can try these things out on my own. So I think I would say learn some programming. If you want to really make students interested in it, learn some programming. And then based on that programming that you have learned, you teach them first, and then teach them how to use those sensors together, make sense out of them. When the water level is 50%, you should trigger a switch. That switch on the pumping machine, and water goes out. Simple experiment like this will not take you 5 lines of code. But when you do them, the amount of, it blows their mind, it inspires them to do more, and the rate at which they can actually invent over time will actually blow your mind as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ajala. I love your analysis, and it's quite appreciated. So now to Mr. Dr. Akambi.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the area he has touched on has answered part of the question. But to be specific, the thing is, how can government come in? Well, I talked about local government. Abi? how can they come in some of these issues? They think that in this world, decisions made that may abstractions. People can just say, we want to make a decision, but it's in the realm of implementation that becomes a problem. So when we are now talking about government and local government, they have the Department of Planning, Research and Statistics. It means that resources has to be devoted to those departments. And those departments, okay. So decisions that are made, decisions that are made by government will go a long way to improve any system. For instance, if probably the focus of the state is how can we do rural electrification, you can do it just like you said, the windmill. You can have some small water. In fact, if you go and Google, you'll see some small water outlets that generate up to about 5 megawatts, 10 megawatts, 20, that they can use for the benefit of the farmstead. Secondly, you also have this greenhouse. It's very prevalent in places like Netherlands, where people have small greenhouse that's more or less semi-automated or automated. So all those necessary sensors that they are going to use in those greenhouses have already been putted into it. So if government is interested in it, there was the time that Kwara State government was trying to go into greenhouse farming, but I don't know how the whole thing died out. But probably if you have, because there's a time that will come, majority of those who are farming in the rural areas, look at them, how many people are remaining there now to really do serious farming? It might just be just 5% that government is going to give serious training. So to allow people to, like I said in 2004, the whole of Bishop Agric, there was nobody using a desktop or a laptop. 2004, just recently. I mean, I should say recently. But today, virtually everybody now has laptop, even in the ministry, even at the local government level. It means this can spread. So we have solar, they can tap into solar, they can tap into windmill, they can tap into small water system, hydro system that can be developed even at stream level, which can help to assist with some of those farming. And of course, we still have the regular generators if a serious farming has to be done. But we need to really step up the game by having training. For instance, like most of the universities where they're having practical training, 20, 30 years after, most of the students are still working with hose and cutlass and buckets. So, but when you get to China, there are small technologies that are being developed. It's until you're able to translate those small technology, and once there's somebody using it on the farm, it sends signals to another person that I can do it. For instance, like there was a time that people were waiting for big tractor for rice farms in Kwara State. At one stage, some people now introduced power tillers to them. Power tillers were easily affordable, accessible, and those power tillers could cultivate at least a larger. There was a technology that was brought by sour rice technology by NCAM, which helped to produce even as a yield of about 5 to 6 tons per hectare, as against the regular 2 tons per hectare. But what needs to be done is to build the capacity of those who are likely to be successor generation of farmers that will help, and that's the only way we can have sustainable approach to agricultural production in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Any other question?
Okay, thank you, the chairman of this session, Dr. M.A. Aremo. While our distinguished speaker was answering some of the questions, we had the entrance of the Vice Chancellor of this great university, Professor Noah Yusuf. Can we give him a round of applause? And is accompanied by the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor G.O. Akashoro. Thank you very much, sirs, for doing us the honor of the closing event. Now, we'll move to the next item, which is the implementation of recommendations. I have the honor to invite to speak on this the country project coordinator, Professor Chris Emenyono from UAES, Umuago, Imo State. A round of applause, please.
The Vice Chancellor and management of Al-Hikmah University, presenters, partner institutions, the team leader, participants, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Yeah, I think we have had a very fulfilling day in terms of the ideas, presentations made, ideas shared, experiences shared, lectures given, knowledge shared. I'm sure that our kitties are quite full with a whole lot of issues that we need to go home with. That said, I think we are taking home with some key recommendations from all the presentations made. I took my time while sitting down there, even when I was chairman of session, to listen to everybody, listen to all the questions asked, and the answers given to all the questions. And I tried to put them in 5 different categories, or 5 different points. Number 1 is this. We have realized that our agriculture and those who are involved in agriculture are really aging. And the agricultural population is aging. And that will not in any way become sustainable. And for it to become sustainable, it means that some people who are younger have to come into it for it to become sustainable. And their point is, how can we now bring the young population into agriculture? The key is digitalization. If agriculture is digitalized, it becomes attractive. And if it becomes attractive, they can now come into it. It becomes competitive, and they can come into it. And in the concept of digitalization, we also realize that digitalization has got something to do with energy. Energy, in terms of power, electricity, infrastructures. And that said, it means that we have also realized that our mainstay, our main power supply comes from the grid. That is what we call NEPA, so to say. I see, so when we were growing up, when light goes, people feel so sad. The next second when it comes, everyone shouts, off NEPA! You know, it's like, you know, in I don't know how to put it, in excitement and being happy that the power is restored. So we'll be in our own villages, we're busy praising NEPA. Probably they were in Lagos or in Abuja or in Owerri or wherever. You know, it means that we should have some such alternative energy sources. Some of those alternative energy sources can come from so many options. You know, and the energy of the youths for whom we are looking at to take over tomorrow could also be channeled into harnessing these alternative sources. Yes, some alternatives that may have been looked at, or which is common, the solar, is also pretty expensive. So we have heard from here that we could also try, even from waste, there are alternatives. I visited one of the farmers when we were having field work. He has a poultry farm. He also has a piggery farm. His piggery farm could run like from here to the other end. Those who were with me in the field work, they could attest to that. And in each pen could have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Those that just furrowed about 8 to 9 liters. And I could see the amount of, how do I put it now? The extractor or the dunks that the man could harvest from the farm. And those things were the things he now used to convert them to energy. that is what he uses to power his borehole. The farmer in Imo. In fact, it was the director of ICT that referred me to him. That is a very big farmer. So I went to see him. He showed me the power source. The power comes from what he burns from the methane gas that comes from there. That's what provides power for him. So you could see that if one individual, one farmer, could do this, you can imagine the strength of cooperatives. Hello? So you can imagine the strength of cooperatives. So which means farmers can actually put their resources together, and that's why ever since we started doing this thing, we've been laying emphasis on cooperative, because we understand that the farmers individually, for all the technologies and all the issues being addressed here, they will find it difficult dealing with them separately. If you look at them as standalones. If you deal with them as standalone, they will not work. My friends in IT, it's only the standalone computers that work. Even this time around, the standalones also need, when you talk about internet, it also need to be interconnected, isn't it? So standalone farming is not also a wonderful thing that you need to cooperate. You put your resources together. If you check on the average, the landholding size from research for every farmer here, on the average in Nigeria, is about 2 to 3.5 hectares. And that wouldn't do anything commercial and competitive. It wouldn't. But when you cooperate and pool your resources together, you could now have this large expanse of land for which when you deploy the technologies that are pretty expensive, that will make your outputs higher, make your profit higher, that's when it becomes competitive. You can't be talking about the deployment of AI or Internet of Things or any of the technology when your landholding is 1 hectare. Is it possible? It's not a profitable thing. It's going to be profitable. Now, I go to the third one. See, there are very serious policy issues. We have got policy issues in the country. Every regime comes with her own. We have got TAM, Agricultural Transformation Agenda. We've got a whole lot of them. Some will come with theirs today. Another one will come tomorrow. There's no consistency. But we are saying, and the way our policies are structured in this country, my special area is agricultural policy and development economics, is such that what comes from the national is what is seeded down to the states. And the states are just a repetition of what supposedly is happening at the national. There should be a rethink, there should be a rejig of our policies. So much so that the states, the local governments, should address issues that are peculiar to them, and not policies that are handed down from national. This is national agricultural policy, and so the state should implement the national policies at state level, and the local governments should implement state policies at local government level. There are different local governments in Kwara State, and there could also be, even though they may have the same agroecology, they may have different agroecology, but there is also a situation whereby what is peculiar in a particular local government may not be the same in a different local government. Okay, my friend from is it Mowe? Our data is clapping. Mowe, is it Moru or Mowe? Moru, yes. He's my friend. He is so particular about his local government. Yes. So he has seen in fact, the passion is in him about the peculiarities of his own locality, even though they are in the same state, which means that it is also imperative that the states or the local authorities should now be able to look at what is not one size fits all in terms of policy issues. These are things that should really be looked at in terms of policy review. Then, again, I first covered that there should be some sort of curriculum development and incorporation in our curriculum. A lot of issues have been said. I had your dean talk about that. Most of the things he's telling you here, they were not taught in the classroom. I heard him. The things he has practiced in his farm. Did you hear that when he was saying it? Did you hear it? Did you hear it? That is a gap that has been created, that has been established. I sat down here and I was listening. That research is about problem solving. Research is about when you see a gap, research gap that is existing, you do what? You close it. What does that mean? The implication of that is that for all the findings here, the observation, the findings should now be incorporated, some sort of curriculum review. The curricula should now be reviewed in the faculties of agriculture, in the polytechnics, in the colleges of education. There should be curriculum review so that these issues we raise should be what? Incorporated. As far as I'm concerned, learning is a continuous process and is a dynamic thing and is a continuum. In that way, we should be able to now rejig our curriculum so that they will reflect the needs of the hour. Sometimes I realize that most times when people run overseas to go and do some programs, it is the cost. That's the first thing that attracts them. Oh, what is he studying? Cybersecurity. What is cybersecurity? The younger ones begin to ask. You see them querying it on their phones. Oh, is that what it is? But if you remain with the same program, old program names, as it were, as it has been in the beginning, so it shall be the end of time, you will see that the attraction, even in terms of students, will be dwindling. And we are talking about what? Capacity building and capacity development and the evolution of ideas. And that will take me to the last issue I raised here that talks about capacity development. What's the key? Is education. Education is the key. What have we done here? We have been able to educate as many persons that are here as possible. And as many persons that are here also are going back with the same message to also educate others. In that way, there is a very firm resolve and a very firm understanding that education is the key, and a very good one for that matter, to set us out of this quagmire. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for participating.
Thank you very much, Professor Chris Emenyono, the country project lead, for giving us that very beautiful submission of yours. And while Prof was addressing us, the university bossa, Mr. Hafiz O. Omani, also entered the hall. Can we give him a round of applause? Thank you very much, sirs, for gracing this occasion. And now, without boring you further, we want to listen to the closing remarks, which shall be delivered by the Vice-Chancellor of this university, Professor Noah Yusuf. And after that, the vote of thanks, and we close the workshop officially. May I invite the Vice-Chancellor for his closing remarks.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And to my brothers and sisters who are not of the same faith with us, we say good afternoon, sirs. Alhamdulillah, we started, and today we are concluding our deliberations. And I want to believe that while we were in our offices, we have reports of the very enriching exercise that we have here. The very rich lectures, the interaction, and the full attendance throughout the day. I think we need to give ourselves a round of applause, please. In some other workshops like this, we have seen situations where at the commencement, full house, at the closing session, very thin houses. And many of us who attend international conferences or even local conferences, we've witnessed that. But for this workshop, very important one, we have seen the dedication of our participants, and we need to appreciate you for that. More importantly, our project leader, our own prof, our mentor, who has been here since 2 days ago. 2 days ago, because as at Tuesday, Prof, your mind was in Lorry. I'm sure that, if not for the delay. So you have been here 2 days ago. So we thank Almighty Allah for you on your behalf. Another team who came all the way from Imo State, and our brothers and sisters who also came all the way from Ogun State, and our other participants who came all from all the local governments of our coverage, Moro local government, Asa local government, and Ifelodun local government. We appreciate you. And our distinguished participants and the source persons from the ministry, relevant ministry, agriculture, communications, and others. And because yesterday I met someone who said, oh, our friend from the nation. Say, oh, so you're also part of us? That's great. Making this audience, this participant to be very complete with the press who will disseminate, because it's very important. And for this type of workshop, it's important that there is no lacuna. That when we brainstorm here, we have interaction, but the important thing is how do we disseminate this, what we are taking from this place. So we need the press, the media, to assist us to disseminate, first to the public, that this type of thing is existing, and also awareness for the populace. Because I'm sure on the radio they will have heard, and on newspapers, that a workshop of this nature is taking place there, and the benefit will also have been disseminated to the people, which is very important. Just as I said at the opening ceremony, we won't be satisfied with only us coming here to brainstorm, to listen to lectures, but the practical aspects of this workshop. And I know that it does, the projects are for about 3 years. So as of now, we are yet to even spend a year. Am I right, Prof, sir? Have we spent a year? So it means we still have a long way to go. It means this is just the beginning of the good things. Meaning that we will still have time to still invite you for a more enriching workshop like this. And I'm sure there will also be other programs, maybe in town, in most of these communities, in the local government, of also bringing us together to go to the rural areas and to the farmers. Because if you look around here, there's none of us who is a real practical farmer. I've not seen one. But I'm sure there will be a forum where we also bring the farmers together. And also, apart from going to their localities, we need also to bring some of them here to also sensitize with them. And so they can also see the university community. And so that we can, that turn and gown, we can match. It's important. And it's part of that report, that tripod, it's a mandate of the university, the teaching, the research, and community service. So I want to believe that Baba Jala, I'm sure you are listening to me, whether it is part of the program of the or not, on our own part, there must be a period of time where we bring all not all of them, and if possible to this place. If not, if also possible at auditorium, we bring some of the farmers to this university. We want them to come to this place so that they also know how the university look like, and we now tell them, this thing we are doing, what we want from them. That they are also trainers. And as we said yesterday, their children is important, because we want to also bring their children along with what you are doing. So, on a closing remark, I want to appreciate all of us, and I pray for our distinguished guests who travel from different places, that as Almighty Allah saw them safely to this place, inshallah, they also return safely. Let's say Amen. And when they return home, they will meet goodies, meet happiness, meet many good things at home. And for us, they left here, inshallah, they will also hear good from us. On that note, I want to officially declare this workshop closed in the name of Almighty Allah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you very much, the Vice Chancellor, who is the chief host of this workshop, for providing us the opportunity of converging on this hall, and for giving us your support. Since yesterday, you have been around to witness the sessions despite your very tight schedules. Now, to our very distinguished participants, we're glad to have you here in Al-Hikmah. We pray that you will return to your destination safely, and that next time when we invite you for a project like this, you would answer our call. Now to the vote of thanks, may I invite the project manager, DIGISOL of Al-Hikmah University, Mr. Tajuddin Ajala, to give the vote of thanks.
All praises, adorations, glorifications are due to Allah alone, the Lord of the whole world. We thank him for everything. In fact, he has done it all. We are indeed very grateful to him. We wish, and he has actualized it. And for that, we have nothing to give him than to say, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. While planning this program, we emphasized a lot of problems, but we thank God that all these challenges are solved, and not only being solved, they were all translated to beautiful results. On this note,